It's a good question. You know, I ask myself that a lot, why I enlisted. You know, I was lost. I was working for family. I mean, you know, I was pretty much done with chasing the dream of racing. You know, at that point it was just for fun, and I knew I was going nowhere. I needed discipline. I needed, you know, some direction. I actually originally wanted to go Air Force. I know I'm probably gonna get made fun of by a lot of the guys for that, but yeah, I don't know, the recruiter was just never there. So, you know, I went next door to ask the Army guys where they were at. They're like, they're never here, and that was it. I don't know, they talked me into it, I guess. And yeah, I mean, I found what I was looking for sure. My name is Brandon Ward from Newport Beach, California. I served 6.5 years in the U.S. Army. I was a military intelligence analyst and saw parts of the world I never even, you know, imagined I would have seen, you know, growing up, just as a kid from Southern California racing motorcycles. You know, I've been all over and done things that, you know, still looking back, I think it's crazy that you know, I was fortunate enough to get those experiences. You know, went to Afghanistan twice, went to Iraq, some small stops, you know, Bahrain, Qatar, Kuwait, the Emirates, and then finally Ukraine, where it was a cool mission. I really liked Ukraine. It was a beautiful country, and found my wife there. So the military, I think, gave me more than I gave it. So I'm very appreciative for what I could do for my country. I was very fortunate, you know, and I made it home, and you know, a lot of guys don't. And I think that's just something that's important to mention, you know, to remember that. You know, I could sit here, you know, and tell stories all day of all the stupid shit we did on deployments, but I mean, I think what's important is just remembering the guys that aren't here to tell those stories. So, and you know, that's what we do with the Veteran Motocross Foundation, is bring guys together to kind of tell those stories to each other, you know, and keep the memories of those that didn't come home, you know, and keep them around. I'm 33 years old now, and you know, aside from a small little, what I call like a hiatus, I guess, with some time off after a back concussion, I've been riding, you know, my whole life. It's a great industry to be a part of. You know, my dad raced, I raced, all my brothers raced, my sister even rode for a little bit. It's something that it means a lot to me, you know, not just motorcycles themselves, but the sport, you know, and what it can do to bring people together. And you know, it's not really seen as like a team sport so much, but it is, and you know, and family's very involved. You know, my whole childhood, my parents, you know, sacrificed a lot for me to go, you know, chase a dream. One form or another, whether it was motocross, supermoto, something with wheels. You know, I've always, you know, enjoyed it. As far as bikes, you know, I'm a big two-stroke guy still. I know it's not too many people, you know, still stick with them, but I like the style. I feel like I ride better, you know, on them. And my last bike was a KTM 350, but before that I had a YZ 250 that I really regret getting rid of.
So, what is your favorite Supercross racer and why?
I mean, I think most people probably expect me to say my dad, which, yeah, I think that's probably a good answer.
Defending national and Supercross champion Jeff Ward proved invincible. Taking the whole shot in every moto, Ward sailed to victory.
I mean, I look up to him in, you know, every aspect of life. I mean, he's, you know, a legend. There's no other way to say it.
Ward, rider number 1, the defending 500cc champ, comes out of the gate first. He was first through the corner, and he leads the field on lap number 1.
Jeff Ward, the man to beat. the only rider to clear the bike-breaking 80-foot double jump every lap. Shows why he's number one.
Look at that crowd waving and cheering for the American rider.
He's done so much in not just this sport of motocross and supercross, but everything he's done. You know, even cycling nowadays, it's crazy. He just keeps going. You know, I mean, I can't hang out with him, you know, or stay up with him. I can't even go on rides with him anymore. I can't keep up.
4 and Johnson 17. They're back. Oh, and Ward almost goes down, but saves it and goes in front.
I think a lot of guys, especially when they get out of the military, they feel lost. You know, it's no matter what the reason was you went in, you come out a different person, I guess. And not a lot of people understand that. And I think just being, you know, around guys that have that same mindset and know what you're going through is huge. You know, I mean, a lot of guys, you can't tell when they're struggling. You know, I mean, I've had friends that I've lost touch with, you know, since getting out, and I reached back out, and, you know, some of them aren't in very good places, and they don't have something like veteran, you know, a veteran organization or guys like VetMX to be around. I think that's why it's so important to spread the message of what we do, and then get guys, you know, on bikes. I mean, not just necessarily, I mean, if you haven't ridden, it's not a big deal, you know. I mean, just come out and hang out and see what it's about, you know. And I mean, maybe try it out, you know, if you want. A lot of guys in the military are pretty, you know, crazy people. I think they're willing to give it a shot even if they haven't ridden before. You know, it's different for guys like me who grew up racing. You know, I think a lot of guys, it's easy to forget if you didn't grow up riding how difficult of a sport it is and how dangerous it is. But, you know, vets are usually pretty mentally tough dudes. They're willing to try it out, and I think it's just a good place for them to, I don't know, just kind of unwind and you know, be around people who understand them. I took some time off from riding for a bit after a pretty bad concussion, and you know, Mark and the other guys at VetMX got me back on a bike just the end of last year, actually. You know, it's cool what they do. They put on a lot of clinics, you know, for guys to come together. They do it, you know, there's different regions and stuff where they're kind of organizing their own events. And then, like you said, here at Supercross, you know, it's cool that we're able to have guys at each round helping out with the booth here, you know, behind us. And like I said, just getting to talk stories, you know, and hang out, and leading up to the culmination, you know, up to Kansas, where, you know, everyone comes together for one event. And I think this year, now that I'm finally riding again, I'm definitely going to be there, and really looking forward to it. And the guys at VetMX can't make this happen on their own. You know, it definitely doesn't run just from, you know, the membership dues. It's you know, a lot of the supporters that are behind VetMX really allow Mark and Peter and the guys to drive, you know, what they're looking to do, and expand the group. You know, a lot of new companies keep coming on board every year, and you know, those donations, along with like the giveaways and everything we do, that, you know, it's important you guys keep an eye out for those, because that's what helps fund getting a lot of guys out there. You know, a lot of guys can't afford to go ride on their own. They definitely can't afford to go buy a bike, you know. It's an expensive sport, even if you're just doing it for fun. It's very expensive. It's an expensive hobby. And yeah, those donations go a long way to help a veteran, you know, get through something tough. You know, they like to call it throttle therapy. I think that's a perfect term. You know, it really is therapy when you're getting out, you know, riding, and especially if you're trying something new, you know. So yeah, if you're not aware, you know, go to veteranmx.com, sign up, donate. You know, share it, just post it, get it out there, try to get this thing bigger, and help out as many vets as we can.